Golden?
That's all on there.
Good morning.
Good morning, people wanna.
That's it.
That's it,
That's
because
the
I do
show.
not. I try to say it with everybody else when they do it, and it's funny because like I'll catch myself trying to say it like Barry does. And I'm like, is that how you really say it? I mean, it must be, but I can't say it like that.
I know. How do you say it in Kickapoo? I'm curious. Anyone know?
What's
No?
in Kickapoo? Oh, Halito, OCO.
Winna.
It's the Hundish. What? It's the not Hundish. Gwina.
Yeah.
Gwina.
It's safe to say that Barry is like the star of the show. Like, we just come in to give him it one day off, but you know, this is the Barry
He does not
show.
like being a backseat driver. He does not like being the backseat driver. He said, "Do you got your seater going?"
Making sure we got everything in place.
Make sure it's foggy. They got to be able to reach to the camera and bless themselves too.
Oh
No,
my
but
God.
good morning. Good morning from 1950 South Shepherd.
I started last week women's wellness with like a mental check-in, like how are you doing? You know, and I said,
Oh, I thought it was
like,
gonna be sweet.
man, I'm feeling great. Wait, is it sweet?
No, but it's all right. I like.
Because I was like, man, that might be mine, and
Why is yours sweet?
it is.
Oh.
It might be mine. I'm not sure.
Anyway. Sweet, unsweet. I like them both.
Okay.
But
But
it's not sweet.
I started with like a mental check-in, and I got on here, and I knew I was feeling kind of like off that morning, you know, but when I have an obligation or when I say I'm going to do something,
Excuse me.
I do it. And that's part of being in recovery. And so it wasn't until after I left here, because I was like, man, yeah, I'm so good. Like, and it's easy to say, like, you're fine, you know, and like put on that face, even if maybe you're not. So when I left here, I really had to do a check in, and I went to see my grandma after I left here. And we were talking about, you know, grandmas and elders, and they're going to tell you about yourself. Like, and that's what she was doing. And I was like, man, you know, normally I try and take her advice, but this is just irritating me. This is making me upset. And that's how I knew I was off, because I try to keep an open mind when dealing with her, you know. And so I realized, like, you know, I'm going through one of my little depressive episodes, and they don't last long, and I don't drink about it or use about it, but I just ride the wave, basically, you know, pray through it, stay close to my higher power. And I ended up that Thursday taking a mental health day to just be with myself, be at home. And even though it was my mental health day, I still tried to do a few things that were productive, because I feel like that helps you to get through and over those hurdles, you know. And I'm feeling better this week. I'm feeling, you know, my motivation's coming back, my energy's coming back, and things like that. So, yeah.
Sweet.
How you feeling this morning?
Good.
Good.
No.
Just good.
Good. Might be one of your hard ones. No. You know, I'm like, I feel grateful today. Like, I really do. I feel thankful and I feel appreciative, right? You know, we got to maintain those three things in order to, you know, walk in harmony and be in peace with ourselves and creator. But at the same time, man, like, my heart is real heavy. You know, we've had almost like a tragedy happen in our community where we're from, and it just hurts my heart, man. But I'm so thankful for my recovery today. I'm so thankful for my sobriety, because I don't know how many times I was in situations and circumstances where things could have easily turned the other way, you know. And thank God that, you know, I'm clean today and I'm sober, and you know, I can wake up and I can have that breath of life, and I can, you know, just go to him with my petitions, with my prayers, and not even just for me, but for other people too. You know, like people trust me enough to reach out and be like, hey, will you pray with me? Will you pray for me? Can you do, you know? And before, like that didn't happen. That didn't happen. And so even for those little moments like that, you know, even though like there is heaviness, you know, even though there is that, I still, there's the other side of that. Like I'm still so thankful at the same time. And man, last night we got to see one of our friends, one of our close friends, sisters, aunties, you know, in the community get her 1 year chip. And that was a beautiful thing, you know, just to hear
It was.
every single buddy have something great to say, you know, like it just made me think of all the times that when I didn't have anything great to say about myself or to another person.
Right.
And because I didn't have anything great to say, you know, I kept myself so isolated. I kept myself away from people, and I became this really mean mother, this really mean daughter, this really mean friend, you know, like I don't even really remember having friends. Like I remember having people in my life that I could take advantage of. If I wanted something, I could get it from them, you know what I mean? That, and so, but today, like I have like meaningful relationships, relationships that have lasted throughout the years, and continue to keep building those things. But yeah, I mean, that's where I am at mentally today. You know, I'm thankful. Like, um, and like I can cry, you know, like I could cry. And that in itself is a blessing, because, you know, that's, to me, that's like a form of worship. That's like the highest praise that we can give Creator is in our tears. And so much happens within our bodies, like when we release that, you know, so much pain is let go, so much healing comes forth. And, you know, the word says that He catches every single tear in a bottle and keeps it for us, you know, and so when we give Him that pain, like He gives us other things like peace and comfort and joy and strength and courage, you know, all these things of the spirit that we get to obtain while being in this like earthly vessel. And then, you know, here comes our faith being strengthened, here comes humility, and, you know, all these fruits of the spirit that we get to walk in, because we give back to Him the things that hurt us, the things that pain us, the things that um we were holding on to, but now we're, you know, letting go.
I love that. That's a lot of healing.
Oh yeah, man. Healing's been, I was so afraid of it before.
Being
I
any
was
different
so
than
afraid of
than
it
what
before.
you were, like
Do what?
being any different than what you knew.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, what I used to know is what I thought everybody else wanted of me. Like, I had to fit into their perfect picture frame or their box, or, you know, like everybody, like growing up, and it kind of goes along with what the reading's going to be like, but everybody thought I was going to be like this great basketball player. And I loved basketball, man. I love sports because my dad was, my aunt was, and, you know, like trying to live inside of what they thought was for me, like it just really just pushed me away from everything, you know. And so I went on this freaking back and forth pendulum of like trying to please everybody, and lost myself in all of that. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sherry.
Mama Sherry. Yeah, Terrier Country. Love it. That's what Uncle was saying last night too. You know, he kind of broke down like our family tree when he was talking to sister, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm from Thomas. It's my hometown, and I love it."
Everyone always, like, a lot of times clients will come in and ask where I'm from, and like I'm just from here, born here, raised here, and I'm like, I'm from El Reno. And if they're not from here, it's like they're waiting for me to say something else, like and I'm like, I mean, I don't have anything against El Reno. I have friends that got sober and couldn't come back here, you know. And I had to come back here and face it, you know, face the damage because my family's here, my daughter was here. I don't know if they're expecting me to say something great and lovely about El Rio, because it's really like,
Well, can you say something great and lovely about
well,
It's located close to I-40.
yeah.
We're 15 minutes away from the city.
We are getting a
Sharon.
Waffle House.
Oh, we are?
I think so. Yeah, I think we're
Oh,
supposed.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
we got a
what I heard, too.
Whataburger
Hey,
too.
Sister Stacy.
Um, but yeah, I don't know what they're expecting of me, but where you put yourself is, and like the what walk of life you're in is where you'll find your community, you know?
Oh,
And I have found a beautiful community of family and friends here in my sobriety journey, and so for that I'm grateful. The recovery community in the city is pretty big, you
Yeah.
know, and I've been around to different meetings and different events and stuff, and I've always had fun and I've always been welcomed and stuff, but there's nothing like our little close knit, you know,
Yeah.
family. So
Our talking circles, our meetings, are, it's pretty amazing. We got a good family here. We got a good little community.
for sure. You wanna read? You wanna do the meditation?
Oh, yeah.
Read it for us.
You want me to stutter around? In my res voice? Hey.
Thickest accent.
All right. I don't know if I can say I. No. All right. So we're still in the winter meditations with Native American elders. Today's March 5th. And we're going to start at the top with Wendy Rose, Hopi, and Miwok. I have always searched for my place and my people. For every human being to feel connected, we must have the feeling of belonging. That is one of the values and benefits of a culture. It creates the feeling of belonging. If for some reason while you were growing up you did not develop the feeling of belonging, a search will be triggered and a restlessness will be present in your heart. You will have a hole inside of you, something missing until you find your place in your people. Remember, we realize we belong to the Great Spirit and that He really loves us a lot. Today I intend to focus on my Creator. Today I belong to you. Let me feel your presence. Thank you.
That's like, that relates a lot to what we were talking about, you know? And you have to find, I feel like you have to find that spirit to lead you where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know? And when I was still out there drinking and using, I was surrounded by people that, like, all my relationships were based on alcohol and drugs, you know? And now I have great, beautiful people that I get to like show up for on their special days and be there. Like you said, like people reach out for you to pray with them or for them, you know? And it's just the whole thing changes. Like, people are not reaching out to ask me to go drink or use, you know? They're asking me to, they're talking about their 1-year birthday or their 2-year birthday.
Yeah.
Or, like, Barry, are you really coming up on 4 years?
Yeah, isn't that so cool?
I feel like you just had your 2-year birthday because I'm pretty sure I was there.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Even on the weekends.
Well, I hope so. I would hope so. I don't know, just a lot of cool stuff. Oh,
Good morning, Mama Chibo.
gosh. Good morning, everyone. Just clean and keen today. I like that.
Just clean and keen. We have all these outlets, we have all these opportunities in front of us. We have meetings, we have churches, we have NAC, we have Sweat Lodge, our talking circles, but it all falls back on the willingness and the want to from the person too on the other side of that, like we're never alone. We're never ever alone, and so if we are ever alone, that's a choice that we're making on ourselves. I mean, in our own will, because for me, like what I've seen is Creator puts us in these places, in these circumstances, or He allows us to be in these circumstances, in these places, but it's what we're gonna do with that. So we can either walk into it or we can walk away from it. And so there really isn't an excuse other than the unwillingness on the part of that to not have fellowship, to not have community, because the things are there.
Right.
And so even in our uncomfortableness, we have to like fight through that. We have to push through the fear, and we have to really allow ourselves to be vulnerable, because that's where the true healing starts, right? Within us, in our own hearts. Like we can expect these things to happen to us until we realize they're happening for us, and take advantage of those opportunities where, we can reach out and reach into.
I had kind of a thought on that this week, actually. It's been heavy on my mind because, when you are lost and you're in the wrong communities, like you said, and, it kind of seems like God is doing that to you. Or like, my thought was always like, why, God? Why can I not do something different? And like, my thought this week was like, he was just sitting there waiting for me to be ready. He was waiting on me, and I felt like he guided me into the season of life that I'm in now, and yeah, so, and like, until you're ready, like you said, that has actually been a big thought on my heart. And I have these thoughts at night. Like, I do my best thinking at night, and I don't know why that is. I need to start journaling them and writing them down or putting them in my phone,
Definitely do that, man. Like I tell everybody that I get to work with, like, journal, write it down.
And I was good at journaling for a while, and then I'm so up and down on my meditation, my prayer, my journaling, but I'm working on consistency for sure.
Oh, yeah, that's like being consistent. I know. I mean, it just like this group right here. You know what I mean? Like, without consistency, if like we would have just failed after the first try, like, you know what I mean, and it wouldn't be where it's at right now. And so, I don't know, consistency and just changes the trajectory of like anything.
Yes.
Like, I know, like our talking circles, and I say it a lot. Like, there was times we started off on Zoom, and then there was times like Mingo and I would just be out at the food pantry, like by ourselves for weeks at a time.
Really?
Just sitting there. I mean, we would have like our own little circle, if you can imagine, like what, having a circle with Mingo, those conversations. But like, yeah, it would be us for a long time, but we still kept going back, and we still kept going back, and like, now look where we're at. We have like 3 different meetings during the week. They're starting out in Western Oklahoma, and so just consistency really is a game changer in anything, not just in recovery, but anything that we want to get better at in our lives.
For sure.
Something I struggle with too myself. So
I guess it's not so much like consistency, it is consistency with many things at once. You know what I mean? So I'll do my morning meditation every day of the week for one whole week, and then I'll be like, okay, now I'm gonna like work out. So then I'm like working out, and then the next week I'm like praying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm all or nothing, and I try to, if I could fit everything in my day that I wanted to, that would be a perfect life. You know what I mean? But I can't.
That would be like a 72-hour day.
Yes. And we don't get that. And so, I don't know. I spend special time with my kids in the evenings now, and sometimes that's when I should be doing things, preparing for the next morning so that I can have a more smooth morning,
Yeah.
But those times with them are so special to me that I won't give that up.
Yeah.
They're only going to be in the house so long,
Tell me about it, man. I just had a kid that turned 18 and another one that turned 17. I'm like, holy moly, it's crazy.
That is crazy.
I was like, how did you turn 18 so fast? And he was like, you had me in high school. I was like, touche.
Just blunt about it, huh? Oh my gosh. My mom, I guess this was just something funny that happened last night, but for my mom growing up, at her grandparents' house, like you didn't sit in their chairs, you didn't sit in their spots in the living room, you didn't watch their TV, you didn't touch their things, you
Mhm.
know. And like nowadays our kids come in on the couch, on our couch, we all have our certain spots where we sit. My mom has her little area, I have mine, the kids sit wherever. But like nowadays the kids, like they just walk in and like flop on the couch, wherever. And my mom said, like, she pulled the elder card last night. She said, "You don't ever sit in an elder spot." I said, "Girl, you are not an elder." She was like, "I'm an elder to y'all." And I was like, I don't know. I just thought that was really funny, but our kids feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Our house is their house, and
Yeah.
so I just thought that was funny, but how things have changed, and I don't feel like that change it, like I don't feel like that has anything to do really with respect. Like that, they still are respectful kids, and they still, I don't know. I just thought it was funny. She pulled the elder card on us already. I'm like, girl, you got a long while.
How old does she need to be considered an elder to you?
Well, I don't know, but she's 46.
Oh, wow, she's young.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my dad is 59. Yeah, something
Really?
like that. Yeah, maybe. Good morning,
mean-
Tommy.
Technically she is an elder, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I always thought my mom was like 26 for the longest time
Really?
until like I was old enough to, really break down the math.
hmm
That's an elder in the making. It's just
She's gonna use that. She's gonna roll with that, I think.
yeah.
One thing I've been doing in my home too is like if someone's done with their plate,
Mhm.
even the kids, I take it for them. Because kids learn by like what they see,
Mhm.
And so I'm like, I hope if I can like set that good example, even doing little small kind things, that they pick up on that.
Mhm.
I don't know, just a thought. I try and do something, every week that is productive to our growth.
Yeah. Yeah, this well, because last year for about 4 months, man, I was writing I wrote an affirmation down every single day. And now I just wake up, and I just say it. Like I don't have to write it down anymore. I just say it. But I just kind of, do my best to walk it out. Right now I'm like trying to be more aware about the food that I eat. Cause man, like I can eat terrible. Good morning, Mary. Good to see you too. Like I like to eat terrible. Not I can't eat terrible. I like to eat terrible.
Mhm.
Sweets, man, cookies, cakes, all that stuff. Like it's hard for me to practice self-control with any of that. And so what I've done in the last couple months is not buy like junk food. And it's really hard though, because like when I travel, like that's all the kids want, and so I'll buy it for them.
Mhm.
But I feel like once we start getting into this like really good structure with it, it's already time to go, and I gotta like get get things that aren't so healthy. But yeah, we've been using turkey a lot. Just little changes in like the way we eat, the way I cook. It's what's an elder's age. What do you think it is, Daniel?
Yeah. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I just thought it was funny to hear her refer to herself like that, Man, I've been thinking about
Good
that a
morning,
lot
Randy.
too, like the way we eat and stuff.
Mhm.
And like you get sober, and like one of the ladies said in the meeting last night, her sponsor told her to go get some candy for those times when you need something,
Yeah.
And I definitely don't like the kids have free reign to the pantry in the
Mhm.
house, and it's not great things in there. And so we've been trying to I've been letting Josie cut her own strawberries. Like she cuts the green part off with the butter knife, and she'll eat strawberries all day long.
Yeah.
And so like I would love for her to eat more vegetables, but vegetables are just gross to kids apparently. I love vegetables. But the self-control part of that is like, you know, me and my mom, we will buy stuff. We will buy healthy things and to cook and to eat, and we'll buy zero sugar desserts
Mhm.
and things to make. And then we'll just say, forget it. Let's go get ice cream. Or let's go get coffee. Or let's go get cookies. You know what I mean? And it's like we have not committed to making that change fully. So maybe it does have to start with just like little things all at once.
Mhm.
Or not all at once, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but that is a good thing to be aware of, and what you're putting in your body. I wonder, like, with all the packaged food, you know, that we
Mhm.
there, it's so convenient for our kids, but like I'm like, why do we not eat more food from the earth, you know?
Yeah.
So that's something I want to do in my household too.
Well, you know what's crazy too? Like whenever I used to party and me and my addiction, like like under my bed I had like my own little pantry of snacks and stuff. Like all these like donuts, freaking there was like strawberry shortcakes, those little like fudge bars, fudge rounds, like all kinds of sweets, because like when I would come down, like I would just crave nothing but sweet things.
Really?
And then on the side of it I would have like this other chest like just full of beer Michelob Lights.
Just
It
your
was
room stock?
yeah, it was crazy. Like I really never ever left my room, man. And it just and my kids like will tell you too, like my mom just stayed in her room and partied. Like
Mm-hmm.
and they'll tell you their truths too, you know, they'll say times that they served, you know, all these broken promises. And I'm like part of me that gonna change that, like eating can be and how it was for me in addiction, what it is for me right now and recovery.
Who are just bored, you know? And I was overweight as a child, and I feel like my in my addiction though, you know, you were talking about having those snacks and stuff all set up, and like my addiction took me to where I wasn't eating,
Mhm.
you know, and like I was going to eat Mexican food and drink margaritas, and then it was like, well, I can't eat the food because that will ruin my drinking, and then
Yeah.
that'll fill my stomach up. So then let me just drink on an empty stomach,
Then I'll get sick.
and then I'm sick, and then I have to try to eat something, but I'm already drunk, and yeah, it just got to be and then you're hungover, and then you're eating everything in sight, you know, and I don't know, I've really been going back because, you know, we do talk about the solution, and the solution is what we're living and walking every day, you
Mhm.
know. But like I feel like it's so important to never remember or never forget where you started.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if it's this time of year, March, um, because one day last week they were talking about how your body grieves,
Mhm.
and I feel like there's like 3 or 4 specific dates where my body is grieving that whole day
Mhm.
from things that happened, and I feel like one of the it might be around this time that I was starting to go through the worst of it, you know, before I hit my rock bottom. And in the beginning of my sobriety, and this might make people laugh, but I used to go to the AA meetings and talk about how I was grateful for clean sheets.
Mhm.
And like that sounds like I was just like nasty, you know, in my addiction. Like And I would tell Josie too, like we would get in bed at night and I'd be like, man, I'm so grateful for clean sheets, you know?
Yeah.
But that was because I had not felt something good in so long. Or I had not felt like when it came to going to bed, you know what I mean? I hadn't felt that sense of peace at night, just crawling in bed with my daughter.
Yeah.
You know, we're showered, clean, in a clean and safe home. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know what that felt like. And so I think people used to look at me when I used to say that, like in the meeting, like, yeah, I'm grateful for clean sheets. And they would be like, that's interesting, you know? But it's just you just feel so much bad and you don't even know how to, like, I feel like I didn't know how to process or accept those good feelings at first. And when I finally allowed myself to feel them, it was like, whoa.
Yeah,
you
that's what I
know?
was gonna interject and say. Like, I get it because so many things we took for granted before, in our own, I don't know, in what we thought was good and what we thought was right. You know what I mean? When we we took so many little things for granted. Like, I have a friend who he talks about being grateful for clean socks.
Really?
There was like times where he partied so many days and didn't have clean socks.
His socks were standing up.
But yeah, like I totally get that now, you know what I mean? And something like, I made a vow to myself last year, as I started this healing process, walking through this healing journey, is that I want to be more present in my children's lives, because for me, like, I can get so busy doing like all these right things, but yet it takes me from the things that I prayed for and wanted.
Mhm.
And then here I am still struggling because things were like in my home, things were just felt like it was just chaotic. And it's because, I wasn't there enough and I was overstretching myself to all these other things, but I really just sat down and, let Creator be the guide of those steps. Like, if this is for me, then you'll bring me back around, or you'll open the door for me. Like, don't have to force myself into a situation or into a place. But I know that as long as my home is good, as soon as I step outside the door, it's going to be good.
Mhm.
And it goes all, and like I said, it goes all back to like that ripple effect, or that or being in the center of the pact or whatever. And when we go put it into like the biblical part, our first ministry is in our homes. And for me, like, that started though, like in this season of my recovery, with the healing part, it started with like really being honest with myself and tearing open those places in my heart and letting not just skipping over them, like really walking out those traumas, processing that, writing it down, and because I've done that, like I'm saying, like, or I was saying when at the beginning, like, or before we came on, like, my relationship with my girls have been so much better, man. Like, now both my girls are in therapy too, like, and they're
That's
telling
awesome.
me like things that they're talking to me now, things that they would have never even talked to me about. Like, a couple days ago, or not a couple days ago, last week, when I got to take my daughter with me to Miami, right?
That was
And
awesome.
she had like a blast. And I seen how she was eating, and I was like, girl, you do not have to eat like that. Because she was like, I'm so full, Mom. And I wasn't body shaming her or anything. She just she just started like looking miserable.
Mhm.
And I said, you can stop when you get full. And she was like, and we had a moment there. She's like, no, I can't, because when I was little, you and my dad used to tell us that we couldn't leave the table until we ate up all our food.
Mhm.
And so now I think, even though I'm full, I think I have to eat everything, because it's going to go to waste. And that's how you guys made us feel, that if we didn't eat our food, it was going to go to waste. And if we wanted to do this, we had to eat all our food up. And that's a trauma, man. That's a trauma that I did not know, that I did not realize that like how much that affected her today.
Mhm.
And so, I just appreciated that moment, you know, and I cried, you know, it brought tears to my eyes and I cried and I was like, man, I'm so sorry. Like I did not realize that's what that did for you today, you know? And I was like, I really hope, you know, since you were able to talk to me about it whenever you go back to see your counselor, that you can talk to her about it, because that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like that's a big deal. And if it impacted you so much today, like that's something, you know, that I'm not gonna make you do it, you know, but keep in mind, you know, to talk to somebody about it. I
Mhm.
said, but I really appreciate you that you trusted me enough to tell me that today. Because a year ago, you know, I probably would have yelled at her. And, you know, got offensive or, you know, got offended by it.
Mhm.
And, you know, just, I don't know, it's so important to be able to just to be able to hear those things and not react anymore. And I think, man, I'm, you know, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm getting better. Like I'm
Yeah.
getting so much better.
That's good. That's like she's gonna heal through you, you know, and
Mhm.
it's not gonna happen overnight. I can tell that you know, me and my mom and then like me and Josie, like we still have so much work to be done. Even
Mhm.
though I've been, you know, on this journey for almost 3 years now, like this is only the beginning still.
Yeah.
And just her being able to open up those is beautiful. And
Yeah.
I kind of had something similar with I don't know. Maybe this is bad manners of me, but like when I'm sitting down for a meal, I like to talk. I like to chat with my family and talk about the day, you know. And when I was eating with my daughter's dad and her, he was just sitting there eating, not saying anything.
Mhm.
And finally, after a few times, like after a while, it kind of dawned on me that maybe he was told like to just sit there and eat and be quiet, you know?
Yeah.
Eat your food and be quiet. And so like after a while, like I asked him about it. And just those different things, like that is trauma, like you said, you know. And now we're able to, even though we were raised differently, we're able to kind of sit down with our daughter and have a meal, you know,
Yeah.
and it be fine. But I got asked something this morning actually. I got a message from a old classmate, and she said, "How do you deal with being a single mom? It's so sad and lonely."
Oh man.
And honestly, like the first thing I brought up was my support system, because I do
Mhm.
have a great support system. My mom and my grandma's, like I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it weren't for them.
Mhm.
But the first 2 years of being a single mom were very sad and very lonely.
Oh, excuse me.
And like that's when I was in my addiction too.
Yeah.
And I was gonna drink because I'm a single mom. I was gonna drink because I raised my daughter alone, so I deserve to, you know. And I'll just say that after like time healing, setting with those feelings, how much of an honor it is to be there and be the one that my child looks up to, you know. Even though I'm not perfect and I can admit my faults and everything, but it gets a little lighter with time, you know.
Yeah. I think for me, man, because like those first couple years of being a single mom were hard too. Um, I've been 2015, like the end of 2015 is whenever, or was it the end of 2000? Yeah, the end of 2015 is when their dad and I split up. And man, I was heavily in my addiction, and so I mean, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare for me. It was a nightmare for them, and um, it just drove me to people, places, and things. Like I just filled a void with the void with the void, and it didn't matter if that was a substance. It didn't matter if that was another person. It didn't matter, you know, like it didn't matter. Like that void was being filled with something, and it wasn't good. And so whenever I went to prison, you know, when I went to prison, I really made the conscious decision to like be a better person, you know. I found out quickly, and I knew before, just, you know, with the people that I dealt with, like anything you can get in there, you can get outside.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to cost more. It's just going to cost way more. And so I knew, like, when I went to prison, that I had to make that decision every single day to be a better person, to be better than the person I was before. And so I spent a lot of time in like the chapel. You know, I spent a lot of time just reading. I spent a lot of time journaling. I just spent a lot of time doing things that I didn't do before. And I was out of my kids' life from, I would say, really from 2000. I mean, the beginning of 2016, because I had just let my addiction just take over, up until I got out of prison in 2020. And so I had seen them for the first time in, like in person, not on a screen, or, you know, since 2018, that spring of 2020. And then I didn't see them again for a few months. And by the end of 2020, though, I had gotten custody of them back. And man, it was hard. But that's what, I was in a program then. And so when I was in that program, I had a lot of accountability around. I had a lot of support. And so it didn't make it that much harder, you know. But I don't know. Today, like, I can embrace it. Like, I can embrace it. It's not as hard as it used to be. And I think, and it all goes back to healing. I think it's because I'm okay with who I am now today. Because when I got out of the program, and you know, I didn't have that accountability anymore, and so I just began dating. Just began dating to be dating. And, you know, then I didn't realize, you know, I was still just filling a void with a void. And I know that today because I've, you know, been working with a therapist and going through my trauma timelines, and you know, taking these classes to really get to know who I am. But I just been dating and, you know, filling a void with the void with the void again. And it was just making being a single mom hard. But like today, I'm okay with myself. Like, I love myself. And you know, it shows my kids, that my girls especially, you know, that it's okay to like not have somebody there. Like, it's okay to not, you know what I mean, be in a relationship, and it's okay to still get to know who you are and develop who you are. Like, my daughter, she told me, this is crazy, like, this blew my mind. Like, she told me that she's never had a boyfriend before.
Really?
Yeah. And like, I was so excited, like, and I had to like calm myself down, you know what I mean? And be like, oh, that is so, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't do that. Like, but I wanted to, like, because, you know, I remember being, even in like 3rd grade, 4th grade, having boyfriends. Isn't that crazy? Like, being that young, having boyfriends already.
Yeah.
And, you know, by the time I was in high school, you know, junior high, like, sexually active. And here my daughter is telling me, like, I've never had a boyfriend, and that doesn't even interest me right now.
Wow.
And she was like, yeah, I've, you know, and I was just, and that's just mind blowing to me. Like, and, you know, I just told her, I said, you have no idea what kind of chains you are breaking, like what kind of generational curses you are breaking. Like, coming from, you know, a grandpa, you know, who was known for like his good looks, and a grandma, you know, who is known for, you know, all these things, and a mother with the background that I have. I was like, you have no idea, like, what you're doing for yourself.
Yeah.
And not even for yourself, but for your nieces, for your nephews, like the people that are coming after you, the people that aren't even like born yet, that haven't come into this space and this place. Like, that's a big deal. Like, you know, and I told her, like, that's a big deal, and I'm so proud of you. Like, I want you to know how proud of you I am, because that didn't happen to me. I didn't make the choice to be that. It didn't happen for your dad. It didn't happen for your grandpas, your grandmas. Like, and so, and you know, it was a really cool moment. But yeah, man, being a single mom today is hard. Like, I don't know, just I've got a lot of like you, like I have a lot of people to help me now,
Mm-hmm.
and people that are good people. Like, I don't have to leave my kids with somebody that I don't trust and somebody that's using and somebody that's like, yeah, I'll do it for a sack.
Right.
You know, like I don't have to do that anymore. Like, people do it just out of the kindness of their heart, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And and I think I have to like pull this out too. Like, their dad and I, we have like a really good co-parenting thing going on now. Like, my kids have another little sister and another little sister on the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's just whenever they had their baby, it just changed like the whole dynamic between like the co-parenting thing. And so, like, I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah.
Like, their little sister gets to come over and play and stuff like
That's
that. You know,
awesome.
that's pretty cool. Like, my daughter was like, here, go to auntie. It's crazy to me, man.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, freaking 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I couldn't even like stand to even look at that dude. Like, it would just upset me to be like around one another. And you know, today, like, by the grace of God, you know, and the works that he's whatever he's doing in their lives and what he's doing in my life, like, being a single mom today isn't that hard.
That's
I
exactly
just
how
went
I
off on a
feel.
huge tangent.
No, I'm so proud of your daughter too, because that is something I could never do also,
Yeah.
you know? And had my very first relationship at like 14, you know, like
Mhm.
my first real relationship, I should say. And it was just all downhill from there. Like the next 10 years of my life were absolute terrible, but so that's really big of her to be breaking those cycles
Yeah.
and alongside you. I hope that some of our laughter and recovery and realness, you know, honesty, shed some good light for you guys this morning.
Yeah, some real good light.
Good morning,
you got it.
it.
Oh, good morning, Mama. It's one of my other mamas.
Really?
Yeah, Joanne Black. She doesn't use her real name on there.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
I know we have like so many just like sisters and like just family, you know, in recovery. I always would tell the ladies in AA, like, I have no women to look up to in my life. Like, you guys are it, you know, like in my immediate family.
Mhm.
So like, was just so grateful for them.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you asked me to come on with you today.
Yeah, thanks
Appreciate
for
it.
coming on
It's a blessing.
to talk recovery with me, and I think that's it. Have a good day, you guys.
Ha ho.